Hi everyone. Again, we are going to be solving one-step equations. Today we're doing lesson 2.1b. So there's still one-step equations, but some of these will be a little more complicated because we'll be dealing with fractions. So let's take a look. I have 2 9s equals y plus 5 over 12. Well, my goal is to get this y by itself. So my lines are already drawn for me, which is nice. I need to get rid of this 5/12, which means I'm going to need to subtract 5/12 from both sides. The problem is I do not have a common denominator. So before I can go any further, I'm going to need a common denominator. What do you think I should use? I think my least common denominator here is going to be 36. So I can multiply my 9 by 4 and get 36. And I can multiply my 2 by 4. Write that in there, times 4, just so you remember what you did. And get 8. To get 12 to 36, I'm going to have to multiply by 3. So if I multiply that denominator by 3, sorry about that, I'm going to have to multiply my numerator also by 3 and get 15. So now I can subtract. I have 836 minus 1536. Well, 15 has a larger absolute value than 8, so my answer is going to be negative 7/36. That's what y equals. Again, it's not any different than what we just did yesterday. Just need to get this y by itself by getting rid of what is on the side with the y, which is 5/12. It's just knowing how to use your fractions. I forget to clear my screen. I always forget to do that. Okay, so let's try our next example. Again, my goal is to get this x by itself, but it is being multiplied by 2, which means I want to divide by 2. I'm dealing with a fraction. So if I divide by 2, I'm going to end up with that weird fraction over fraction. So I'm going to put divide by 2 here. Well, we remember fraction division. We keep switch, oops, 5 weird, switch, and flip. 2 or 2 over 1 becomes 1 over 2. This cancels out. I'm left with just x over here. Simplify before you multiply. There's really nothing I can simplify. A negative times a positive will give me a negative 3. 5 times 2 is 10. So x equals 3/10. Negative 3/10. Should we check it? Probably not a bad idea. Is 2 or 2 over 1 times negative 3/10 equal to negative 3/5. That's my big question. The pen didn't want to write there for a second. 3/5. Are those equal? Simplify before you multiply. 2 and 10. Now multiply. 1 times negative 3 is negative 3. 5 times 1 is 5. So yes, it is correct. It does work. So my x is negative 3/10. Like I said, the only thing complicated about this is knowing how to do your fractions. Okay, now I'm dividing and I have a mixed number. I'm going to make this into an improper fraction first. 2 times 3 is 6, plus 1 is 7. 7/3 equals n divided by 7. Well, the opposite of division is multiplication, so I'm going to multiply both sides by 7. You can put 7 over 1 if you like. I am on this side going to do the 7 over 1. Now, these 7s will cancel out. Simplify before you multiply? I can't. There's nothing I can simplify. So I end up with 49 over 3. Is that okay? Can I keep it like that? Absolutely. If you wanted to make it into 16 1/3, you could. Why go through the work? Leave it 49/3. Let's see if it works. Is 2 1/3 equal to 49/3 divided by 7? I'm going to write my divided by 7 this way. And it's going to be 7 over 1. Keep. Switch. And flip. Simplify before you multiply. I can simplify my 49 and my 7. This becomes a 7. This becomes a 1. 7 times 1 is 7. 3 times 1 is 3. So is 2 1/3 equal to 7/3? Well, I think we already figured that out earlier when I made 2 1/3 into an improper fraction over here. So yeah, 2 times 3 is 6, plus 1 is 7. 2 1/3 does equal 7/3, so it checks. So 49/3 is my solution. Okay, I have another one. 1/2 a equals 14. This one will actually feel kind of nice compared to the previous ones. A little bit easier. Multiplying by 1/2, I would want to divide by 1/2. Let's think about that. Divide by 1/2. Well, when I'm dealing with fractions, isn't dividing by a fraction the same as multiplying by its reciprocal? So multiplying both sides by 2 over 1 would be the same as dividing by 1/2. Yeah, it is. So I can just multiply both sides by 2 over 1, or 2. I could write 2 over 1 here, but I don't need to. Simplify. I just end up with 1 over 1, or 1a equals 28. Checking this is a lot easier too. What's half of 28? Is it 14? Sure is. I forgot to clear my screen again. Same with this one. I want to divide both sides by 1/4. Well, dividing by 1/4 is the exact same as multiplying by 4, or 4 over 1. These will cancel out, and I'm just left with 1n, or n, equals 4 times 10 is 40. Well, is 1/4 of 40 10? Again, absolutely. Okay, now I have a negative fraction. And it's not a 1/4 or one that's easier to do. Okay, again, I want to divide both sides by 2/3. But dividing by 2/3 is the same as multiplying by the reciprocal. So the reciprocal of negative 2/3 is negative 3/2. You want the negative also. So I'm going to multiply this side also by negative 3/2. Again, negative times negative will give me a positive. My 2's will cancel out. When I simplify, my 3's will also cancel to a 1 when I simplify. So I have a negative 1 times negative 1. That just gives me 1q equals, now simplify over here, 2 and 24. This becomes a 1. This becomes a 12. 12 times negative 3 is negative 36. And 1 times 1 is 1. I could put it over 1. I don't need to. Let's check this one. Is negative 2/3 times, we're saying q is negative 36. Negative 36 equal to 24. Does this equal 24? Sometimes put this question mark here to say, we're asking this, is it? We don't know. So let's simplify first. This is multiplication, so simplify first. 3 and 36. Divide by 3. Divide by 3. This becomes a 12. And you see my denominator is going to be 1 times 1, or 1, so I can just ignore my denominator at this point. Negative 2 times negative 12 is a positive 24. So yes, this did work, because 24 does in fact equal 24. So my answer, q equals negative 36, is correct. Okay, my 7th example. I have a lot of examples for this one. I have an improper fraction. I want to change that to a mixed number first. I usually just like to put my negative in front. 5 times 3 is 15, plus 1 is 16 thirds. Okay, I got to get rid of this 4/5, which means I would divide both sides by 4/5, which is the same as multiplying by the reciprocal, 5/4. If I do that to this side, I also need to multiply this side by 5/4. Simplify 4 and 4, that's 1. Simplify 5 and 5, also 1. So 1 times 1 is 1, 1 times 1 is 1. I'm left with just 1m, or m, equals, simplify this before I multiply. Divide both sides by 4. This becomes a 4, and this becomes a 1. So a negative times a positive will give me a negative. 4 times 5 is 20. 3 times 1 is 3. I do recommend checking these. I know you guys resist checking all the time, but it will keep you from making mistakes. If you check it and it doesn't work, then you know you did it wrong. So is 4/5 times negative 20 thirds equal to 5 1/3? 4/5 times negative 20 thirds, because that's what we're saying m is. Does that equal 5 1/3? Simplify before you multiply. Divide by 5. Divide by 5, and this becomes a 4. A negative times a positive is a negative. 4 times 4 is 16. 3 times 1 is 3. Well, we already did this. We know that 5 1/3 equals 16 thirds. I can turn it back. How many times is 3 going to 16? That's 5 times with 1 left over. So yes, my correct solution is m equals negative 20 thirds. So we have a little bit of a summary to write. When a fraction is being multiplied by a variable, like in this, use the reciprocal to solve the equation. So multiplied by the reciprocal. Okay. Now let's do a word problem because we need to do word problems. You've already read 117 pages, lose my voice, sorry, in a book. You're 1/3 of the way through the book. How many pages are in the book? Well, what we know then is we've read 1/3 of the total pages. So oops, I went too far. We've read 1/3 of the pages. And that 1/3 that we've read, oops, I'm on the wrong slide. I have to go back, sorry. My answer there doesn't make sense for my question. It will not let me go back. Will it let me go backwards? Maybe not. Maybe. I think I saw. Anyway, my 1/3 of my pages, I'm going to improvise. I think it said it was 117 was the number of pages I had read. Don't look at the problem that's above because that's not it. That is a terrible 117. 1/3 of my pages was 117. So to get rid of that 1/3, I'm going to multiply both sides by the reciprocal, which is 3 over 1, or 3. So this cancels out. My pages, my total pages in the book will be 3 times 117, 351, I believe. That would be my solution. Let's look at this example that we're actually on. We've taken 42 piano lessons, which is 15 more than Anna has taken. How many has Anna taken? Well, I've taken 42. 42 is, if you remember our math words, is means equals. So my 42 equals 15 more than, remember more than, we're talking addition, Anna has taken. I'll put an A for Anna. So my 42 is 15 more than Anna. This one's a little easier. I don't have any fractions to deal with. I want to get this A by itself, so I'm going to subtract 15 from both sides. (42 minus 15, I believe, is 27, but I'm not going to trust my math right now. 12 minus 5 is 7. 3 minus 1 is 2. So Anna has taken 27 lessons. Does it make sense? If Anna took 27 and I took 15 more, Did I take 42? Yeah, that answer makes sense. Next example. Just clear my screen. In a 3-year period, the city's population decreased. That means it went down by 6,432. So we had a population, and during that 3-year period, it went down 6,432. So we want to know the beginning population. It's now 729, 150 after it decreased. So it makes sense that the population before the 3-year period would be more than the 729 because it went down. So now I need to add 6,432 to both sides. And I have absolutely no objection to you using a calculator on these problems. I hate when students go through all the effort of setting up a problem, doing everything correctly, and then making a little math error. So feel free. We're adding 6,432 to both sides. 2, 8, 5, 15, carry the 1, 3, and 7. My nice, beautiful handwriting. 735,582 before the population decreased. So that's it. Sorry about the error with that one problem. I could not get it back. Have a great day.